Hey guys, welcome back to Diving Deep in Thought. You're here with Elias, and today I want to talk to you guys about a topic that no one ever talks about. So I may as well talk about it so we can get a conversation happening with this. And you can converse with yourself if you don't want to talk to me. You're on the other side of the screen, so you're safe. I don't know who you are, I don't know what you're feeling, but I hope you're feeling well. So for the last 20 years, I've been asking people, how are you? And everyone said to me, I'm fine. I'm doing really well, actually. I'm doing good. I'm really good. Why do you ask? I'm doing awesome. Okay, so then we assume that if everyone in the world is fine, why isn't the world perfect? Are people lying to us? Maybe. But they're not lying to us on purpose. They're lying to us so that we feel good. Because they want to feel good that we're feeling good. And if they feel good because we're feeling good, we'll feel good. So, see what's happening? There's a whole lot of feeling good, but maybe we're not all feeling good. So it's important to get to the bottom of this. Today I want to talk to you guys about depression and what the difference is between depression and sadness. It's really easy to mix them up, but the difference is huge, and it can escalate into something very sinister and very, very real. And it's something that we need to acknowledge, because at the end of the day, it could be a matter of life and death. So it's really important to understand the difference and how we can tackle it while it's young, while the monster is small. Because we've got to remember, the mind obeys commands. And if we say to the mind, I am unworthy, and we keep saying that and saying that and saying that, thoughts grow. And when the mind raises these thoughts, even though they're bad, it creates this emotional quotient. And it says to us, well, I've raised this monster. How could I kill it? Even though it doesn't make me feel good, it's so comfortable living in my mind, and it dwells there. So the difference between sadness and depression. Sadness is usually created or caused by an external influence, a person, place, or thing outside of us that enables us to feel unhappy for a short period of time. It doesn't last long. It's usually caused by either someone passing away or a family friend getting badly hurt, getting in an argument with your partner or a friend, getting bad grades in school. We've all failed at something and we generally feel like shit afterwards, but that's life. I've been there. It's really important to understand that sadness comes and goes. We know the root cause of it, and another emotion will come in and push that one out of the way, and another one will come in and push that out of the way, and they're just recurring little emotions. Now, when sadness sticks around for a very long time because of an event that we can't detach from or come to closure with or accept has existed, and we can get beyond that, what tends to happen is it lingers, and sadness becomes like bitterness, and bitterness becomes resentment, and resentment becomes a depressed state. A depressed state becomes chronic depression. Chronic depression goes into something like unworthiness, to the point where we feel no reason to still live, and that could create this really, really bad concept of suicide. So we don't want to go there, but we need to be aware that there's stages to sadness. So sadness is important to be dealt with in its earliest infant stages, as a small monster that we can just flick out of the way, rather than having to wrestle with it and then have that grow so big that it gets us in a headlock and we're trying to tap out. So we don't want to get to that stage. So what are the symptoms of depression? Some of the symptoms of depression are lack of appetite or loss of appetite, lack of motivation at work, sleeping too little or sleeping too much, alienating yourself from society, your friends, your family, excessively working to get your mind off negative thoughts, so you're preoccupying your mind with work all the time. So it's good to have a balance. But if you find yourself, you've lost track, or you have a lot of these symptoms, it's really important to check in with yourself, write them down on a piece of paper. It's always good to journal or write down your thoughts on a piece of paper. So your thoughts, your actions, and your interactions, these are things you can write down on a piece of paper and observe on a daily basis, and figure out common patterns that you have over a whole week, and figure out which one of these is positive, which one is negative. So if you really got to, like, we're going down to the thoughts level here. We are writing thoughts. So we're writing thoughts, emotions, actions, interactions, whatever. We're documenting what we're feeling on a daily basis so that we know the root cause of our sadness. If it gets past sadness and we hang on to it for a bit too long, it gets a bit more sinister, and it generally, when the sadness loses its meaning, so we don't know where the sadness came from, it becomes depression, and it becomes this state of being comfortable being depressed because we don't want to feel happy anymore. We feel guilty of being happy. If I be happy, it's not good for me. And that's what happens when you're depressed. You feel guilty of being happy. And people can catch on to this because depression is something that's contagious. It's socially contagious. If you are in a depressed state, due to the energetic field of the whole world and the whole world working off vibrations, what tends to happen is people will get down to that frequency and they'll ask you a question like, hey man, are you all right? And you'll be like, yeah, I'm fine. But maybe you're not. So you could tell that person, hey, you know what? I've had something on my mind. Do you mind if we talk about it? And they could say, yeah. And you'd be like, well, I haven't been working lately and it's really starting to bug me. And then they may say to you, well, you know what? That happened to me 4 years ago. And what happens is you became vulnerable for a second. And by you becoming vulnerable, that person's connected to you. So what you've done is you've formed this connection with this person. And what tends to happen is because the thought comes out of your mind and out, this monster escapes for a little bit, it battles their little monster and they disappear. And what tends to happen is your brain doesn't have a chance to hold on to it long enough, to nurture it, to get it into this really big monster that it's been raised, it's spent time, energy, and resources in, and it's bred to be this very big thing that can overcome you. You let it out this little monster, and it was so easy to deal with because someone related to you on the basis of you not being perfect. And it felt good because we connect best through our suffering. And suffering that has meaning is called sacrifice. So if you're suffering for no reason, that is not good. But if you're suffering for your kids, that's called sacrifice. So sacrifice is really good. But more importantly, back to depression. So connecting with people is one of the best ways to eliminate sadness at its lowest level or between sadness and depressive states. Now, if you don't know why you're feeling unhappy after weeks of monitoring your journaling, it may be a chemical imbalance, and that is something that you could go see a practitioner about, go see a therapist. But I really do believe that a lot of the things we have in our mind are ones that we have manifested, we have ignored, we have let go of, we have not been honest of, because we've allowed them to be trapped so that we can create this facade that we want people to see. So if we put a mask on and talk to another person, and then we respond based on this mask, not based on who we are, then that person likes the fake version of us, and then we get jealous of them liking the fake version. And then if they do the same thing and be the fake version of them, and then their fake person is dealing with our fake person, then there's two insecure people. Then 10, 20, 100, a million, 100 million, 7 billion. And that's where the 10% of people are feeling depressed today, because we're a bunch of masks, dealing with more masks, and we're disconnecting. We're feeling like we're on this sole survivor island by ourselves, and that we don't have any bridges to any other island. But the bridges between the islands are the vulnerabilities and the weaknesses that we endure and share and grow through. I'm not telling you go out there with a microphone in the middle of the street and tell people your insecurities. I am telling you to talk to people in this day and age over the phone, in person. Talk to your neighbor about common issues you may have, and I can guarantee you another human being has the exact same problem. You just have not seeked it out, or you are afraid to be vulnerable. But by putting up a mask, your mask is dealing with his mask, is dealing with her mask, is dealing with their mask, and we're on these islands by ourselves. The bridges between us are the vulnerabilities and the things we can attach. So how many bridges do you have between your island and someone else's? I can tell you for a fact, I got many bridges, because with me, Some things I do voice with people, and I do believe they do connect and they do feel positive, because I've made the first brave move and said, you know, I had a problem the other day, and I list it. By me just saying that, they go, well, would you look at that? Somebody else had the same problem I had, and I thought I only had that problem. This is why we like TV channels with drama and just nonsense, because we relate to them and we want to know that other people are feeling what we're feeling so that we can feel it together. So it's really important to talk to people, to get things off your chest, to get the monsters out while they're small. And in the next few videos, I'm going to be talking to you guys about some techniques that you can use on a daily basis to get your mindset off these negative thoughts, off this depressed type of state, and into a state of abundance, positivity, personal progression forward, and happiness. And I will see you in the next one. If you enjoy this video, or you feel like someone needs to build a bridge between their island and yours, or their island and mine, feel free to like, subscribe, and share with whoever you believe needs to form bridges between their island and mine. And thank you for listening.